Hi guys, welcome to A Cumbrian Lad Outdoors and welcome to today's video. Well, today's video is a Cumbrian lad indoors. We've had a lot of very changeable weather at the moment here in Cumbria. One minute it's bright sunshine, next minute it's lashing it down with rain, then we've got hailstones. That combined with my back still playing up, I've decided to do an instructional video today. So today we are going to be covering how I sharpen my knives and keep them in trim. So today we're going to be sharpening my Mora Companion, which is a Scandi grind and should easily be able to cut through this very thin paper without ripping it. There's no major nicks in the blade edge as such. It just needs a wee bit of a sharpen. So if I try and cut through this paper, it should just zip straight through razor sharp. So let's just see how sharp it is at the minute. It is cutting it, but as you can see it cuts in so far and then it starts ripping it. Let's just have another go at that. Very difficult to take. It's just not cutting it properly as it should. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm actually wanting to change the type of edge that this knife has to a cross between a Scandi grind and a convex, known as a Scandivex grind, which is supposed to be slightly better for bushcraft activities. So before we get on to the actual sharpening, I'm going to run through the equipment that we're going to be using today. So the whetstone that we're going to be using is a bare moo double-sided stone. So one side is 1000 grit and the other side is 4000 grit. Now you can spend a lot of money on sharpening stones. You know, you're talking hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I didn't want to go too cheap. A lot of the really cheap ones are a waste of time. But this one cost me $18.99. Now if you had a blade that had visible nicks in, you might want to start at something like a 600 grit just to take that out and then move on to 1000 grit, and of course you can always go above 4000 to create a finer point, but for today's purposes this stone should be more than ample enough. It's also worth mentioning you should always soak your stone in water for 5 minutes before starting. Then we have some Smurf poo honing and stropping paste, which was £8 for, where are we at? £8 for 120 grams. And then we have a leather strop, which you put the compound on before you start stropping. So there we go. We've got everything together, ready to start sharpening my Mora Companion. So let's go. Okay, so you should be on a level surface. You should have some water handy. Wet the top of the stone. Okay, now if I was sharpening this to maintain the Scandi grind, I will put it flat on the stone, lift it up so it matches the angle of the Scandi grind, and I would simply push like that to maintain that Scandi grind. Like I've said already today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to turn this into a Scandivex. So it's more free flowing and you've got to have a loose wrist and you just simply push backwards and forwards, and when you get to the tip of the knife all you do is lift this side up so it maintains the same wear either along the full edge of the blade. And what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to try and keep it nice and level both sides, so it creates that same straight sharp edge. So let's go. A bit more water on there. Okay, you can see already that the stone and the edge of the knife is starting to wear. But now I'm just checking the blade and it does seem to be fairly even what I've just done. So we're going to change to the other way. A bit more water on there. And we're now going to do the other side of the blade for the same or roughly similar number of strokes. Nice and loose in the wrist. Not too much pressure, but a good firm push down. Trying to use the full length of the stone so the wear on the stone is nice and even too. So again, we'll check what I've just done, and it does seem to be fairly even along the edge of the blade both sides. Already feel sharp. So what I'll do is I shall do this over and over again both sides till I'm happy that the edge is equal, and then I shall flip it over and use the 4000 grit side. So I'll bring you back when I'm on the 4000 grit. Right guys, it's very difficult to show you, but what I've done is on the 1000 grit side, sharpened both sides over and over again, so I've got an even amount of wear down both sides of the edge of the blade. So now it is time to move on to the 4000 grit side of the stone. Exactly the same again, just making sure that that stone stays wet. As soon as it starts to dry out or gets too much of the stone wearing off and goes dirty, just put some fresh water on it, and we're going to follow the exact same procedure again. Keep changing from side to side and full lengthways of the blade. And as I keep saying, as you get towards the edge of the blade, the point of the blade, you just want to lift this hand up a little bit so it ensures that that point gets sharpened as well. Not too much so you're digging in, but you'll find it, you'll get the feel of it just a little bit, and then that enables you to get even wear down the full length of the edge of the blade. You can instantly feel that this is much smoother compared to the other side, and also on here you can see, because it's white, you can actually see the bits, small bits of metal in the water. See there, it's getting very dirty. So all we'll do is get some more water, put it on, and then we'll change sides. Again, quite loose in the wrist, firm pressure, but not too hard. And you've done both sides, so roughly the same. You're just looking for that wear down the edge, being even, both sides. Right, it is for now, but I need to do a lot more on this side. So what I'll do is I'll bring you back when I've finished with the 4000 grit stone and it's ready for stropping. Right guys, so that's both sides of the blade done now on the 4000 grit side. Again, it's very difficult to show you, but like I said, I've been making sure to go up and down the length of the edge of the blade to make sure the wear is even up and down and the same both sides. So now it's ready for stropping. So what we do, I'll use the fresh side of the strop. All you do is get whichever, there's many compounds out there, but like I say, doing my research, I decided to go for the smurf poo. So a small amount of compound, rub that on your strop, which is just basically leather. If you're out in the field and you've got a leather belt on, you can actually use your leather belt with a bit of compound, and that'll work as a strop. I'll maybe put a little bit too much on there, but there we go. Now what stropping does is, no matter what grit stone you're using, you will always leave a slight burr on the edge of your blade. So when you run your fingers against the blade, you can feel small amounts of residual metal have basically curled over. So what stropping does is it gives you a nice mirror finish and it takes away those burrs. Now you go this way, always against the blade, and you can see there, even with this compound, it does leave bits of metal behind. We'll give it a good strop. Make sure you get all the blade. Again, you can see the colour, it's turning dark with the metal that's getting rubbed off. Okay, that should be enough. We'll get it cleaned off and then we'll see just how effective the sharpening method's been. So like I say, there's many expensive stones out there. I've just gone for something that's going to be cost effective for myself and that works. You know, like I say, the smurf poo was £8, the stone was £18.99, the strop was 14 quid. More a companion, it's a £10 knife, but I wanted to practice on this before I go to my Enzo Trapper. But again, here we go, same style of paper. It's actually a go outdoors brochure, but it's a really thin telephone book style paper. So let's see the difference after having it on a 1000 and 4000 grit stone and a bit of stropping. Razor sharp, absolutely razor sharp. I can even go slow as well. Razor sharp. Really happy with that. Like I say, and I probably will end up getting maybe a 6000 and an 8000 stone just to for when I go onto my Enzo Trapper, but just for the purposes of today's video, I'll show you how sharp you can make a knife with a 1000, 4000 grit stone and a strop. And if I bring you in closer, if I go on my arm, very carefully, I don't advise this at home, but if I go on my arm, you can see there, it's actually shaving me. That's my arm hairs. So that's how sharp we've got the knife today. Right guys, thank you very much for clicking on today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. I am very much looking forward to getting outside and being able to do some camping videos for you all soon. Once the restrictions allow us to do so, I'll be out there. So thanks again, stay safe, much love from a Cumbrian lad.